Destroy your old self to become unstoppable. There is an enemy living inside you. He knows your weaknesses better than anyone else. He knows exactly when to strike. He whispers when your alarm rings. He tells you to wait. He tells you that tomorrow is a better day to begin. And the most dangerous truth is this: that enemy is you. Most people believe success is about gaining something: more motivation, more knowledge, more opportunity. But history teaches a harsher lesson. The most powerful transformations never begin with gaining something. They begin with destroying something. And the first thing that must be destroyed is the weak version of yourself. Centuries ago, the political philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli understood this brutal truth. He studied power. He studied leaders. He studied the rise and fall of empires. And his conclusion was simple: power belongs to those who are willing to reshape themselves, not slowly, not gently, but completely. Machiavelli once wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Most people spend their entire lives protecting the version of themselves that others expect. They protect their comfort. They protect their habits. They protect their excuses. And because of that, they never become anything greater. The path to power begins with a difficult realization. Your current identity is your biggest limitation. Your habits define your future. Your routines create your destiny. If those habits are weak, your future will be weak. If those habits are powerful, your future becomes powerful. But habits do not change through wishing. They change through destruction. Machiavelli wrote something that many people misunderstand. It is much safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Most people interpret this as advice about controlling others, but the deeper meaning is about controlling yourself. Your discipline must become something your weakness fears. Your laziness must fear your standards. Your excuses must fear your decisions. Because when weakness fears you, it loses its power over you. Look around the world today. Comfort is everywhere. Endless entertainment, endless distractions, endless ways to avoid responsibility. Everything around you is designed to make you soft. Soft minds, soft bodies, soft ambitions. And softness destroys greatness. Machiavelli warned about this when he studied the fall of powerful empires. He observed that nations rarely fall because of external enemies. They fall because they become weak from within. The same is true for individuals. Your life will not collapse because of one dramatic failure. It collapses slowly through comfort. Comfort convinces you to delay. Comfort convinces you to relax. Comfort convinces you that there is always more time. But there is not always more time. Every day you delay becoming stronger, the weaker version of yourself grows. Every day you postpone discipline, the prison becomes stronger. And most people never escape, because escaping requires something they fear: sacrifice. Transformation requires a war between who you are and who you could become. Inside you are two identities. One seeks comfort, the other seeks power. One seeks approval, the other seeks mastery. The comfortable identity wants safety. The powerful identity wants growth. Every day those two identities fight for control. Every decision feeds one of them. When you skip the workout, the weak identity wins. When you ignore your responsibilities, the weak identity wins. When you choose comfort over progress, the weak identity grows stronger. But the opposite is also true. Every difficult choice feeds the powerful version of yourself. Every moment of discipline strengthens your future. This is why consistency is the ultimate weapon. Not motivation, not inspiration. Consistency. Machiavelli once wrote, "There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others." In your life, the war is against your old self. You cannot avoid it. You can only delay it. And every day you delay it, the weaker version of you gains ground. But the moment you decide to fight back, everything changes. You begin removing the habits that weaken you. You begin eliminating distractions. You begin protecting your time. Time becomes sacred. Your focus becomes valuable. Your energy becomes intentional. This is when your identity begins to shift. Slowly at first, but powerfully over time. You begin waking up earlier. You begin working when others rest. You begin pushing forward when others quit. And something fascinating happens. People start noticing the change. Not because you announce it, but because your presence feels different. You speak less. You act more. You complain less. You execute more. And this difference makes people uncomfortable. Machiavelli understood this psychological truth. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." In other words, people judge by appearances. But when your discipline becomes visible, your reputation changes. Your consistency becomes intimidating. Your focus becomes rare, and rare qualities attract attention. But transformation always comes with a price. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some will question it. Some will criticize it. Some will try to pull you back to the comfortable version of yourself. Not because they hate you, but because your discipline reminds them of their weakness. Your growth reflects the potential they abandoned. And that reflection is uncomfortable. This is why isolation becomes necessary. Not permanent isolation, but strategic isolation. Time alone to rebuild your mind. Time alone to develop your discipline. Time alone to construct your future. In isolation, your standards become clear. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop seeking approval. You stop explaining your ambition. Instead, you simply work. Machiavelli wrote another powerful truth. A wise man should always follow the paths beaten by great men. The great men of history shared one quality. They demanded more from themselves than the world demanded from them. Their standards were higher than average expectations. Their discipline was stronger than ordinary motivation. Their vision was larger than temporary comfort. And that is why they changed the world. But the journey always begins with the same moment. The moment when the old identity dies. You must let go of the person who procrastinates. You must let go of the person who seeks constant approval. You must let go of the person who negotiates with weakness. This process is painful because identity is powerful. But on the other side of that pain is freedom. Freedom from excuses. Freedom from hesitation. Freedom from self-doubt. When the old identity disappears, the unstoppable version of you begins to emerge. A version that acts instead of hesitates. A version that executes instead of complains. A version that moves forward regardless of circumstances. This is the version of you that shapes the future. This is the version of you that commands respect. This is the version of you that cannot be easily broken. And once that transformation happens, something remarkable occurs. The anxiety disappears. Because anxiety comes from knowing you are unprepared. Discipline removes that fear. Preparation replaces doubt. Consistency replaces chaos. Clarity replaces confusion. And the world begins to look different. Opportunities appear where others see obstacles. Progress appears where others see difficulty. Because your identity has changed. The weak version of you is gone. The powerful version remains. Machiavelli understood that power does not belong to the timid. It belongs to those willing to transform themselves completely. So the question is simple. Are you ready to destroy the old version of yourself? Because the moment you do, the unstoppable version of you finally begins to live.